everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a fantastic day so far. I hope today has been treating you well. In today's video, as you can see from the title down below and the thumbnail that you'll have seen before clicking on this video, today I'm getting into the Cosmic Brushes Serenity palette. Now if you don't know, Cosmic Brushes are coming out with two new palettes today as you're watching this, in a couple of days as I'm filming this. So I picked up all of the eyeshadow palettes that I didn't already have from them because I am so obsessed with the formula. I have got the Delicious Delights and the Winter Wonderland, and they are absolute top tier, some of my favourite eyeshadow palettes of all time. So before those new ones come out, I wanted to just make sure I was all caught up on all of the other palettes. So I've got Serenity that I'm going to be doing today, and then in a couple of days, I don't know when, you will see a review, swatching, try on, etc. of the Gothic palette. So if you want to see that, subscribe. That will be coming very, very soon. But we're getting into Serenity today. This looks absolutely beautiful. I love purples and greens and pastels, but brights, if that makes any sort of sense. So this is what the packaging looks like. It's almost like the Northern Lights meets the ocean, little bit of mermaid vibes. It's so, so beautiful. And then inside, this is what the colours look like. I am so excited. I am giddy with excitement. I literally got this delivered to my place of work today, drove home like an absolute lunatic so that I could get home, take off all of my makeup and have a little play with this today. So I am so excited. I have no idea what I'm going to do. The greens, the bright greens, are calling my name in every language. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch all of these out, and then we can create some sort of bright, probably green lilac combination sort of a look. But let's get into the swatches first. So one last close-up look before I dig my fingers into all of these shades and completely ruin them. So this is a 20 shade palette. We have got 14 mattes, and then the other 6 are a combination of shimmers, duochromes and multi-chromes. The only one that I can tell for sure is this one down here, which is called Ether. I can tell that that's a multi-chrome, but the others I am not so sure on. I'm sure some of them will be duochromes. I can tell that this one is more like a matte with shimmer in it, whereas some of the others look more like foils. So we're gonna dig into this one now, and I'm just gonna go from the top row across and swatch them on my arm. I don't have any primer, moisturizer, anything on my skin, so we'll see how these go on just on completely bare skin. Obviously I've already got my eye primer on that has already creased, so when I get to the eyes I do already have a little bit of a tacky base on, so they will pop a little bit more on the eyes than they will on the skin. But I'm interested to see how these are going to swatch. So let's just dive straight on in. I mean, so that's like a duochrome, that first one. Very, very bright, but almost more like a topper. Like it's quite sheer, but then when it catches the light, very, very blinding. So that one is called Opal. Let's just start swatching. Yes, very, very blinding when that one catches the light. Then next up we have got a matte, quite deep purple, and that one is called Pixie. Then we have a matte green, and this one is called Sorbet. Let me just go in with another little layer over the top of these ones. Yes, that second layer over those has really made that pop. That green is almost verging on like a little bit of a pukey green, but I love that colour. I mean, that purple pretty much matches my nails perfectly. I've got every single colour of the sun on my nails at the minute. I'm really enjoying colour. So then next up we have got a deep brown, and this is called Earth, and that's a really almost cool toned but more just neutral deep brown. Then we have got Oasis, which is like a corally peachy orangey pink. Really, really pretty. Very, very bright and summery. Then onto the second row, we've got a foil, and this feels so creamy and smooth, and this one is called Odyssey, and that's like a true gold. There's no like shift in that, it's just catching the light, so reflective. That's a really, really beautiful shade. That just like all over the lid is like a very dramatic glam gold. You could almost do something quite graphic. That would be beautiful. And that was so smooth, and that's just on the first swipe. Beautiful. Then next up we have got 3 mattes. This one is called River. Oh, I don't know why that's gone so a little bit funky on there, but River, beautiful. Almost a teal, almost a little bit more blue than a teal, but definitely not just like a straight up flat blue. That is beautiful. Then we've got Forest. That's a really unique shade. I wouldn't say that like it's called Forest, but I wouldn't say that that's necessarily like a forest green. It's almost got a bit more blue in it than that. That as like a smoky wing with that all over the lid. I'm getting ideas. Then we have got Spring, which is almost like a sage lighter green. Actually in the pan I thought that this was going to be more dusky, more grey toned, but on the skin that's showing up really like pastel and almost bright and like fresh, more like a mint, like a spearmint. That's really, really beautiful. Then next up we have Serenity. So this is the shade that the whole palette is named after, and yes, I feel like that one is more of a dusky grey toned blue, very neutral, almost leaning a little bit cool toned, quite smoky. You could definitely use that one in more of a smoky sort of glam way. Then onto the third row we have got Awake, which is a matte lilac, and again this is almost like a bright pastel. And I hope you understand what I mean by that, where it's not like a wishy-washy pastel, because we get a lot of those, but I feel like these pastel-y shades, like Spring and Awake, and there's more to come, so I'll report back, but I feel like these have got such an intense amount of pigment behind them that they feel very impactful for a pastel, which is so, so beautiful. Then we have got Twilight, which is that one that I said about being more of a matte with shimmer, a matte with little glitter particles, rather than something like these that feel quite foiled. This one feels quite different. It's more subtle, the sheen is more subtle, but absolutely beautiful, and that's almost like a deep indigo sort of a shade. Can you see how that looks quite different to like the gold and the lighter blue here? It feels softer, it feels less reflective. I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just a different formula, but it's still very, very pretty. I like that, and it's got like silvery glitters in it as well, which is like in keeping with the rest of the colours in the palette. Then we have 3 more mattes. So this one is called Moss. As you would expect, it's a mossy green, but almost like a warm mossy green. I feel like these sorts of greens are quite wearable where they feel very earthy. Then we have got Lagoon, which I'm very interested in. I absolutely love that colour. I absolutely love that deep turquoisey leaning green. Not quite a teal. Again, I feel like this one and this one mixed together would make a beautiful teal, but it's not teal just by itself. And then we have Mood, which is the deepest, darkest navy, but a very rich navy. Absolutely beautiful matte tones. And I feel like where these shades are getting darker, that's just on one swipe, one dip. I mean, look at the amount of colour that I've still got left on my hands. Am I going to have green stained fingers at the end of all of this? Potentially. Then onto the last row. Oh, we have got some good shades coming up here. So first up, I mean, that just makes my heart happy. We have got Wanderer, which is this going to be a duochrome? No, I think just a shimmer. Again, like I said, absolutely nothing wrong with that because the shimmer formula is beautiful. It's almost like catching the light a little bit gold. So it's like a mossy green, that moss shade with Wanderer. I look just in 2 shades there. Then this is Ether. Look at that shade. I mean, if you haven't seen my videos before, I am absolutely obsessed with lilac and purples at the minute. So, you know, that's like a baby pink toned lilac. Then when it's catching the light, it's like a baby blue silver. That's absolutely beautiful. Then we have got a matte called Make a Wish. I'm going to end up on my actual elbow here, but I do not mind. I'm just going to go over this one a few times again because these are quite light. So that's Make a Wish. Can you see that one? It's more of a baby pink. Really, really pretty though. Oh, I'm so excited. And then the last two, we have got Echo, which again is a bright pastel blue. That's a really, really beautiful shade. And so, so bright. That's really, really pretty. And then all good eyeshadow palettes need them. We've got a matte black. So let's see how pigmented. Oh goodness. Very, very pigmented. Okay, so that is what the full colour story looks like. Can you see? Yes. So pretty. I think what I want to do today, and I already sort of had this idea bubbling in my head as soon as I saw the palette, I think I want to do something quite lilac leaning, quite purpley, with Ether basically all across the lid, with obviously some of the other purples to like make a whole look. And then I think I want, see I was thinking I would want a green, but I actually think I'm going to go in with Echo, this bright pastel blue, right on the inner corner. And it is like the end of the day. It's already nighttime, so it really doesn't matter if this all goes wrong. We're just going to have a play. So if you have this palette, I would love to know what colour combinations you like to wear. I am really impressed with the variety of colours, but whilst it all feels very tonal, all feels very sort of easy to use, where I feel like you could just put any of the colours together and it would work. I really like that. I will also say I did get some brushes. I got the purple, there were 2 eye brush sets and I got this set because these brushes are all smaller. They're basically made for people with small eyes. Now I don't have small eyes, I have big bird eyes, but I like having smaller brushes so that I can be quite precise with the application of my colour. So I'm going to be using these today and I'll let you know how I get on with those as well. I will start with the biggest one, which is CB1. And what shade do I want to start with? I will start with Make-A-Wish, which is that one on the bottom row, the lilac. I will just make sure that that primer is nicely tapped out. I used the P. Louise eye base, this one. Used that one all over my eyes, and I already have, of course, my brows on, which honestly is a concoction of about 10 different eye pencils because I just couldn't get them to turn out right. So I'm gonna take that fluffy brush into Make-A-Wish, which is a beautiful lilac, and I'm just going to run that through the crease. So I'm almost like, as I've got less colour on the brush, I am just basically taking that up to my eyebrow, but that colour is a lot more pigmented on that tacky base than I was expecting it to be from the swatches, which really it shouldn't be a surprise because I've used these formulas before, but on a tacky base you just get the best colour payoff. I am genuinely so giddy about the new palettes, and they're neutral palettes. Neutral and, no, neutral and cool-tral, or whatever it is. But how incredible. If you've seen them, are you going to pick them up as well? I'm absolutely getting them as soon as they launch because they look beautiful. So again, if you want to see swatches and a review and a look with those 2 new palettes, subscribe. They will also be coming soon. I'm just going to take the same brush and I'm going to dip into that peachier shade up here called Oasis, and I'm going to use that sort of above the crease but more on like the inner half of the eye, just to add a little bit of something. I'm just going to blend it in with that Make-A-Wish shade that we've already got, but just so that it's a little bit different, just right in there. So I'm gonna just park that big brush for a second and I'm gonna go on to the CB4, which is much smaller, and I'm going to go into the darker matte purple. This one down here, can you see? Yes, called Pixie. I'm going to just dip very lightly into that shade, and I'm going to stamp that more on the outer corner and again blend it in with that first lilac that we put down. Okay, so I'm quite happy with the amount of that Pixie shade that's all over the lid. I want to go in with something a bit darker, and I don't know whether to go with River or Mood. Do I go with River or Mood? I feel like River would be quite nice, you know. I'm going to just take that same really small but still quite long brush because I just want the tiniest bit of that. This is going to be incredibly pigmented, so just tapping that right on the outer corner. Obviously I'm doing my eyes, well, not obviously, in case you can't tell. I don't have any like foundation or like the rest of my base done, so I'm gonna be cleaning up, probably adding a big wing. So just adding a little bit of that River shade. That is beautiful. I absolutely love that colour. Yes. See, I feel like where the blue is going into the purple on like the outer corner, that will look beautiful, because I'm obviously, in case it wasn't completely clear, I'm putting this like lilac blue multi-chrome all over the lid. So I'm happy with the amount of depth on the outer corner. I'm just gonna make sure all of that's really nice and blended before I go in with the shimmer. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to use my finger and I'm going to take Ether, the most beautiful duochrome shade, and I'm just going to tap that all over the lid. So obviously that eye base is still a little bit tacky right across the lid. Oh, that shade is beautiful. The cat's come to join me. I love that. That almost looks sort of like oil on water. That's really pretty. So, even myself up. So, I did just grab another of the brushes. This is the CB3. So, more of a dense, almost like a pencil brush, so that I could really pack that ether shade right onto the inner corner, and also just using that to like blend that ether shade into the mattes that I've already got sort of in the crease area, and just like blending it out with that brush. And that is absolutely beautiful. That shade is beautiful. I absolutely love that. So I think I'm going to use that same brush and go into Opal, that bright first shade, and yeah, I'll just use that same brush, and I want just a little bit more brightness right on the inner, tiny little inner bit of the eyelid, but I do think I want that bright baby blue echo right on the inner corner. But I'm going to go off. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to do a big black wing. Who saw that coming? Literally no one. And then we can come back and do something under the eyes. I really like that opal shade though. Just right there. Don't want it to take over, but that's really, really pretty and like brightening. But we're definitely going with a blue inner corner. So I'm going to go off and do all of that. Clean up. Change my battery. It's already flashing at me. And then we can do something purpley and beautiful under the eyes. How about that? Okay, so that is the rest of the face done. And like I say, I want that blue right on the inner corner. And I want to put a bit of an eye primer down first so that it's really got something to stick to. So just using a little bit more of that P. Louise eye base, the tiniest little bit, and I'm just going to use a Beauty Bay brush, just a really, really small amount of that same eye primer right on the inner corner, and just ever so slightly tapped out. I do want that colour, like that blue, to be quite vibrant, I suppose, quite prominent on the eye. So just tapping the eye primer out. I am also going to do something under the eyes. What? I don't know. Don't ask me. But just going to use, which brush do I want? Let's use this one, CB2. Going to use that, and I'm going to dip into Echo, that bright baby blue, and I'm really going to load that up on there and then tap it off so that we've got a lot of that colour, and it's going to stick right onto that primer that's nice and tacky. So really loading that colour up on there. I love that colour, like really, really love that colour. So just tap it on and then like tapping out around the edges so that it is a little bit blended in. I feel like that's really making my eyes look quite red, but also it is late and past my bedtime, so let me off for that one. Just really intensifying that colour. Let me finish up under the eyes. I feel like I can't tell how I feel about this until I've finished under the eyes. So I'm going back in with the CB4 and let's go in with Pixie, that darker purple matte, and I will just run that along the lower lash line, and I'm just wiggling over that line on the outer corner where the wing is, just so that's like joined up, it's not just hanging around under there. I'm gonna just put a little bit more mascara on. It's just the one out of my project pan, which isn't my favourite, so I'm not going to talk about it, but just going to put a bit more mascara on the top lashes and the bottom lashes. So I've also just put a little bit of lip liner on. I just used the Colourpop So Juicy in Tease, and then I think I want to try this with this look with a little bit of opal, which I know we've already got on the eye, but I want to like really specifically put that like right on the inner corner of that blue. So taking another tiny little pencil brush, this is a Beauty Bay one, and I'm just going to tap that right onto the middle of that baby blue. I love that. Okay, that colour is beautiful over purple and over blue. Just got a tiny little bit that's not very well blended here. One moment. Oh, and I also put some more brow gel in and it went all over my skin, so we're ignoring that because it won't actually scratch off. But that is the finished look. We've gone very purple and very blue, but I do also feel like you could go very sort of earthy and mossy and green. So if you want to see that, do let me know. I'm more than happy to do some more looks with this palette, because of course it's the quality that we know. It's the quality that we love from Cosmic Brushes, and I've heard so many people say this over the last couple of days, obviously with the announcement of the new palettes. Had so many people say, and I just completely agree, Cosmic Brushes just gets their colour stories so right. You're not just going to get a monochromatic sort of bland eyeshadow palette that you can maybe do one or two variations of a very similar look. There's so much variety within a colour story. They just get it so right. And this one is absolutely, that's absolutely true for this one as well. I love the colour story. I feel like there's so many different ways that you could go. So if you want to see more of a green look, do let me know. If you want to see more from these like bluey, turquoisey, tealy shades, let me know. Obviously, I love those shades. I love the whole colour story of this palette. I definitely recommend it. Is this necessarily above Delicious Delights for me? I'm not sure. I would have to consider that one a little bit more, but I do really, really love this one. So if you want to see more looks with this, let me know. If you want to see the Gothic palette, I will try and get that one up for you as soon as possible after this video. I'm going to be filming that tomorrow. When it goes up, I do not know. Honestly, my whole filming schedule is just absolutely all over the place at the minute. Like, I don't usually film after work because this is what happens, rambling. But if you want to see a swatch and try on of the Gothic palette, then subscribe because that will be coming very, very soon. But if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like my rambling, give this video a big thumbs up so that I know. If you are new here, I'd love it if you would subscribe. I post all the time, at least 3 times a week, but as you can tell, I get overexcited about makeup, so it's always more often than that. It's always a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But again, filming schedule, upload schedule, out the window at the minute because there's just so many new releases and I get so overexcited about them. So I'd love it if you would subscribe, join our little corner of the internet. We're all good eggs here, or at least I try to be. Until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.